Hi there, Starscream back for possibly a long overdue Transformer review. And what I'm doing at the moment is twiddling my hair. No, that wasn't what I was going to say. What I'm planning to do at the moment is try and revisit some of the old reviews I've done and, you know, make them better, for want of a better word. Purely on the basis that when I did some of these reviews, actually all of these reviews, I had a webcam, and my webcam was a crap cam. So now I am trying to make amends for that by introducing you to some of my, what shall we say, my reviews have been George Lucas. Revamped reviews. Now that sounds pretty good. So let's get on with my revamped review. Who are we talking about today? Well, Astrotrain, triple changing Transformer. Really like the guy. So, should we take a little look at his backstory in the cartoon show? It's one thing at a time. One thing at a time. Yeah, we'll get to the comic bit just one thing at a time. No. Yeah, so let's look at the characterization of him in the cartoon. He's pretty good, actually. He's in Season 2 and Season 3. He's one of the triple changes introduced. Now, he tends to be one of the larger mouthed varieties. More so, I would say, than Blitzwing, other than the fact he's in an episode called Triple Takeover, where he completely and utterly screws it up because he tries to get a bunch of trains working for him. And the trains really don't want to know. And he tries to implant with some sort of artificial intelligence, and it just goes all arse up, and it doesn't work. So, you know, he's pretty much instrumental in most of the times that the Decepticons, if they don't want to use their teleporting device, or should I say space bridge, to get to Cybertron, they use Astrotrain. And Astrotrain's quite interesting because when he's a robot, he's not particularly large. Well, he's not small either, he's just nothing special. But once he transforms into his Astrotrainy rocket on the back of a shuttle mode, he's huge, and you get lots of Decepticons inside. As is pointed out in the movie, where I think he single-handedly manages to get all of the Decepticons out. And while they're flying back to Cybertron, wherever it is the hell they're going, he is immense. Devastator unites and starts battling off other Decepticons. And this is Astrotrain. So if you take Astrotrain next to Devastator, let's just do that for a point of reference. Devastator, okay? We all know Devastator. Astrotrain. Astrotrain. Yes, that works, doesn't it? But you know what? I don't mind that a lot. As somebody pointed out to me, which I don't mind explaining to you, or, you know, is that when Michael Bay did Transformers, he didn't like the statistics of, you know, of Megatron being a gun. So Megatron's like this big, and now he's a gun, and he's like this big. And Soundwave being this big, and now Soundwave's a cassette player, and he's this big. Let's think about Devastator out of the movie, shall we? A form of vehicles that are combined together. Now, you take those single vehicles, they would not combine anywhere near the scale of which they combine in the film. But I'm moving off point now. Back to Astrotrain. So, yeah, that's quite interesting. And you know what? I don't care. I actually like that. Remember, this is fantasy. This is a show to entertain. It doesn't have to be factual. And it's a cartoon to boot. So, you know what? Why the hell not? So I liked Astrotrain. He had a weird echoey voice. God Gambit's a great one because it's got jazz in it, and he tries to take over this planet of these primitives, and he calls them worms and stuff, and it's great, it's excellent. And Starscream doesn't like it because literally Astrotrain just bosses him around. Starscream, you're useless. I'm a triple changer man. Get out of the way. So it's brilliant. I love it. So great cartoon run, makes it into season 3, as I said. After that, we really don't know what goes on, and then he's later introduced back into the comics, which is great. But the original comic run was great as well. He worked with the Quintessons a bit. It was with Shockwave. It was with Strax. He's been everywhere. Astrotrain is one great character, and he's very well written. So I think we should take a look at the toy, because that's what we're here to do, isn't it? So, Generation 1 Astrotrain. Is he a good toy? He is and he isn't. Robot mode. Okay, look. There's no point me pointing out the bleeding obvious, is there? His arms are far too short. Okay, his biggest problem is he's got tiny arm syndrome. Look. Now, if you have this chest plate like it should be there, displayed, can't see his hands, or arms in general. So if you put it in, can't see his head now, you see. So where you're supposed to go with this bit? So, essentially, that's the way you're supposed to display him in robot mode. Okay, as I said before, he has small arm syndrome. His arms don't make it very far down. Now, I've always thought, now stop me if I'm wrong here, look. You see here, oh, get it on camera, there's a line there, isn't there? Now, if you look inside here, you would think that they've given themselves enough room here for this to pull out at least that much. So if you have his arm there and you pulled it out, it could at least make it to his waist, which would have been acceptable. But no, they didn't bother, which is a shame, because it ruins the toy. And I said, the toy, as it gets older, does have a tendency to do this, sink into itself. Like most Transformers, they've all got their faults, and this one is no exception. He does sink into himself, which is a shame. But other than that, as regards comparison to his counterpart in the show, it's not bad. It isn't too bad. Look at the facial moulding. It's not bad. Colour's wrong, though. You see, that's where they, really messed it up. So then we get a later reissue of him in proper, anime G1 cartoon styley colours, which does look a lot better. And I think the reason they've given him a gun that is so out of proportion to the size of his arms and himself in general is to counteract the fact his arms are too short. Does it pull it off? Well, if he had two guns, I think it probably does, actually, for display purposes. But as a fact, he only has one. Now it just looks like he's lopsided, which is a shame. But the actual mould of this recolour variant is quite nice. Transformation of Astrotrain is nice, as you know, triple changes. Should we talk about the alt modes? I suppose we should really, shouldn't we? But before we do, there's one more thing I should point out. Classics variant they did, which is a great toy. Yet again, they bollocksed up the colour. I don't understand why. He has a huge handgun again, no problem with that. But why did they mess up the colour again? What's the problem? Look. He looks like this. He doesn't look like this. He doesn't look like this. Like this should look like this. Does that make sense to you? No, it doesn't, because it doesn't make sense to me. But why did they mess it up again? It's such a shame, look. Is it that complicated? Look. Why did they do it? Why? Why, oh why, eh? Why do you think they've done it? He doesn't say very much, which is a shame. But he should do. And I know he does in the show, so it's not too bad. Anyway, this variant of Astrotrain is quite nice. Slightly more poseable than the original one, but that's not difficult really, is it? Legs are pretty static on the original. Arms are more like shoulders than arms. Head does not move. Let me just double check that before No, head does not move. And he's quite small in comparison to how large he is in the show. And remember, when he goes into Astrotrain mode, he can hold Devastator, which is good, but, completely out of proportion. But I don't mind that. That's good. That's a good thing. So, is the Classics one's better than the original? Which is probably what some of you may be thinking. And I would probably say no, actually. I prefer the original. Now, yeah, he's just a G1 snob. He always says he prefers the original, even if it's crap. Well, no, I don't think that's completely fair, because if something's better, I'm completely prepared to admit when the toy's been bettered. I don't think it has. I think this is really nice homage to it. I think it's a great toy in its own right. But I don't think it's better than the Generation 1, because it just doesn't have that feel of die-cast metal and quality. It just feels a bit cheap. You see the white plastic there? It just feels a bit nasty and a bit knockoffy, it just doesn't... It's all so close, but so far, and it's okay, and I could recommend it once you've got the original, but not over the original. So, back to the original now. Let's try it in its alt modes. I'll just display them for you quickly so you know exactly what I'm on about. Being a triple changer, he has another two modes. And that's thanks to Shockwave or Astraxus. I can't remember for doing experiments. And some of them had split personalities and it went a bit wrong. But Astrotrain seemed to work. So just have a look at the alt modes quick. And there we have it. I'll sum it up quickly without rambling on for hours and hours, which I could quite happily do. I like Astrotrain. I like the character. I do like the toy despite of its faults. It's a definite must-have for a G1 fan, and even if you're not a fan of G1, I think you've probably heard of him, more so than Blitzwing even. So he's definitely worth picking up, and triple changes have always been popular. Really good idea for trying to get more transformations out of a single toy. I mean, most of the time they're not, well, they're not brilliant, and they're not faultless, but they are good. So as regards triple changes, Astrotrain probably rates pretty much at the top of my list of G1 triple changes to get. And you don't want to say triple changes 2 times twice, all 3. See, I did it wrong then. But there we go, so that's Astrotrain. So, alright then guys, that's a quick review of Astrotrain. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm trying to, make amends for some of the rotten old reviews I did. So, take care guys, and see you out there.